Okay, one more save, and hopefully I didn't forget anything. No, I jokingly say referring to the N64 makes me sound old. I'm not that old, but the students I teach are what I mean I teach students from as little as 6 years old, and they barely know what a Wii U is. And you know, I don't think most of them even grew up knowing what in the hell a GameCube is, which just you can understand how that makes me feel. So when I say the N64, I feel like, man, how old am I again? We still got some pants hulking. You know what though? It's at least better than it was. Um, I'm gonna say this is easily enough fixable with Photoshop. I might just leave it. But I actually did forget something else. There should be some kind of like crushed bodies on the floor because she did step in something. I'm gonna just fix that real quick. Otherwise, this is done. So this took actually a little longer than I was hoping it would, but it's okay. Yeah, tell Jenny to cut down on the sweets. She's she's gotten a little out of control here. Okay, now we're done. Now we just send it to render. Well, one more save. I never had a Dreamcast either. I think I think I was just distracted with everything else at the time. I was barely aware of it when it came out. Not to mention, I don't think I recall hearing about any games that were even out on it that I was interested in. Well, sure, graphically speaking, the Wii U is easily a generation behind. Um, and I don't really understand their whole, marketing towards kids thing, although they're not the only ones guilty of that. They overwhelmingly seem to be in the majority on that particular aspect, though. But I honestly, I don't play my Wii U that much. Uh, I can't even recall the reason I bought it, to be perfectly honest. Uh, I think, well, the last thing I played was Mario Maker, and that was pretty great. That was one exception. Everything else was just kind of meh. The new Mario game was fine, um, but it wasn't any different than really the one you had on the Wii, and those weren't even that great to begin with. There's Mario Kart, which is not any fun unless you have people to play it with, and it's not something you can just play anytime. You kind of got to be in the mood for that. Um, I think I think I had I think I had bought the new Donkey Kong Abomination when it came out, and I mean the fact that King K. Rool's not even in the game is like, well, is it even really Donkey Kong anymore? The answer is no. It's a monkey-skinned platformer, but yeah, whatever. That's not a big deal. But other than that, I can't think of anything even that came out that I'm even remotely interested in. So it's sort of been a waste. Well, thanks for coming, Thanks for stopping by and listening to me rant about games for 30 minutes. I hope it was enjoyable. I plan on doing that Pictionary stream for the next one, which I'm thinking will probably be next week, sometime either Friday or Saturday. But just to rant a little more, just in case you didn't have enough of that, um, I remember buying Skyward Sword, Legend of Zelda, Skyward Sword when it came out, because I'm a big fan of Zelda. Not a huge fan, but I enjoy them. I like the older games more. I especially love the handheld ones, like the old handheld ones, Link's Awakening and the two Game Boy Color ones. Those are just great. Uh, but I bought Skyward Sword, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Twilight Princess. So I didn't really know what I was getting into with Skyward Sword, and it wasn't like Twilight Princess, of course, but it wasn't good. The fact that they forced that motion control bullshit on you, and that you had to buy a separate Wii Motion Plus to be able to even use the motion controls, that was kind of like a little turd on top of this shit cake. And then on top of that, it didn't work so good either. So great, here's a bunch of money you got to spend for your pretty much broken experience. Have fun. Twilight Princess was the first console Zelda uh, that I didn't finish. I gave up. I lost interest, and I don't know why I bothered to come back and try again with Skyward Sword, but I don't know. I guess I was an idiot. But the new one they're promising is going to be open world and free roam to do whatever you want and play the dungeons in any order, just like the original. That's kind of enticing, but I'm wondering how bad they're going to fuck that up. Because I don't think they can make a game like that anymore. I don't think you can. Basically, a game where the environment is completely hostile to the player and you're not given any direction about what to do or where to go. and there's absolutely no hand holding. They can't make a game like that anymore. And in fact, they would probably be stupid too. Yeah, I know Link Between Worlds was a thing. I enjoyed the hell out of Link Between Worlds, but that's because I have such a fondness for A Link to the Past. And being able to do that stuff in any order, that was great. You know, there wasn't really any hand holding too much that I can remember in that game either. So if it's like that, I mean, if they make it like that, I'll enjoy the shit out of it. But I think that worked so well because it was basically set in the Link to the Past world. You know, it was a place that was already kind of familiar. Now the dungeons were the same, of course, but you know the overworld and everything, it was all sort of familiar. So even if you didn't know where everything was, you still kind of knew where stuff was, sort of. It felt like not a brand new experience, but it was like going back to somewhere you hadn't been in a while, and you're slowly remembering things that you'd forgotten a long time ago. Gee, Photoshop's taking a while. Okay, there we go. Good timing. Yeah, I think if they make another game, another Zelda game similarly to Link Between Worlds, that's a good place to start. And I don't mean exactly the same. I mean in the same kind of open style where it's not everything must be in this order and you have to get this item to go here and do that and kill this thing. As long as it's just let me do what I want, I'll I'm down for that. So I've kind of been in love with this new character lately, and you might be able to tell. No, I wouldn't want them to make a any kind of follow up to Ocarina of Time. I think they should just leave that where it is and move on. It already did enough damage to the timeline as it is. I don't think there's any sense in trying to continue that history at all. Just let's do something else. Let's go somewhere new, something different. Anyways, uh, Melanie, doesn't she look so sad? She looks so sad. She's not sad for herself, of course, but you know, she looks sad.